Dinos are officially back, and today I'm bringing you the best dinosaur deck profile for the June 2023 competitive Yu-Gi-Oh format. Let's jump into it. What's up, Ocean? You got Matt here, and welcome to another competitive Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today we are going over an amazing dinosaur deck list for the post-Wild Survivors June 2023 competitive Yu-Gi-Oh format. Dinos have been crazy. They have been everywhere. They're insane thanks to a few new cards from Wild Survivors and a couple of new pieces of support coming soon. So if you guys are excited for the list, then make sure to smash the like button and of course subscribe to the channel as well. And if this video hits 50 likes, I will bring you guys an amazing combo guide to cover all the new combos you're going to need to know for the best dinosaur deck for June 2023. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into it. Alright everyone, we are back with the best dinosaur deck profile for the June 2023 competitive Yu-Gi-Oh format. This video is going to be an update to a list that we had a few months back. It was the third video on this channel, so if you guys were here for that, shout out to you guys. Make sure to let me know in the comments that you were. But let's go ahead and start talking about this. We have our 15 card extra, 15 card side, and I think we have a 41 card main, which is the count here. But let's go ahead and just jump on into it, starting of course with the main deck. And of course, where else would we start but with 3 copies of Soul Eating Oviraptor, the heart and soul of the deck. This is the reason why the deck has partly as much consistency as it has. This is your Stratos for the deck. On normal or special, you can once per turn add to hand or send to graveyard a dinosaur monster, which is amazing. So lets you play around Droll, kind of. It also allows you to once per turn target a level 4 lore dinosaur monster on the field, destroy it, and then special summon 1 dinosaur from your graveyard in defense position as well, which is crazy to allow you to pop cards like your baby Ceratosaurus to be able to get into more plays. It can even pop opposing level 4 lore dinosaurs like the tokens, for example, that you get from Lost World. This card is really good and is the reason why the deck is so strong in my opinion, of course with its partner in crime being the 1 copy of Miscellaneousaurus. I wish this card came back to 2 so badly. I really thought it would come back to 2, but hey, at 1 for now is fine. But I do think the next wave of support that we're getting for Dinos, it is going to definitely be coming back to 2 or 3 copies. Fingers crossed to do it. This card is crazy. It does everything for the deck. It is protection during the main phase from any activated effects, which is so strong. We then have 3 copies of Baby Ceratosaurus. This is standard across the board. There is no once per turn on this card. This card is destroyed by card effect. This card is destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard. You can special summon a level 4 lower dino from your deck, including itself, which is crazy. In this new build, we do a lot of destroying of the babies, and because of that, we're actually playing also 3 copies of Petite Pteranodon. Usually this card was a 1 of, maybe a 2 of, but right now definitely you want to see us at 3 copies because this card here is insane with the new support that we have from Wild Survivors. Once per turn, not once per turn, I should again clarify, not once per turn. This card allows you to special summon from the deck a level 4 or higher dinosaur monster if it was destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard. So just crazy card all around. You then play 2 copies of the Animador and Archosaur. This card here should be a 1 of. The reason why it's a 2 of is because Miscellaneousaurus cannot special summon from the hand. It has to summon from the deck specifically. So if you draw this card here, then you cannot miss for 1 anymore. And that really hurts. You have to play 2 of it for that reason. It is still a very good card. On normal or special, you can destroy another dinosaur monster you control in your hand and search for a evolution pill, essentially, or a reptile sea serpent or winged beast monster with the same original level as a destroyed monster, which again is not really what you're using it for. It's mainly your searcher for the double evolution pill. Next up is going to be our scrap engine of the 2 scrap raptor and the 1 scrap chimera and the ugly gold rare. This engine, I really don't like it very much at all, but it raises the ceiling of the deck so much. It allows you to get extra bodies on the board with the scrap wyvern combo, and it allows you to also get access to more destroying of the babies, which is really good. The problem with this is if you're using Miscellaneousaurus, eventually you get to the point where you have scrap chimera on the field and your opponent can just imperm that or Valor that or whatever it might be. They can also imperm or Valor or even Nibiru your scrap chimera, scrap wyvern, and chimera, both of them, because they're not dinosaurs. So keep that in mind. It's still very strong. This engine is very important. You don't need to play scrap golem anymore though. We then have a bit of, well, one of the 1-ofs in the deck being the 1 Giant Rex. Giant Rex, eventually, I think the next wave of support is going to see this card getting cut. It's nice because it gets you a great fodder for banishing off of the double evolution pill or the UCT, but it's not going to be seeing much play because it just doesn't do anything else after that, and it doesn't do enough in general. It is a very solid card to have. for right now, but eventually when the new support comes out, we get a bit more fusion summoning going on, we get a card that kind of replaces this, it will be replaced at that point. Now finally, all this stuff is all old school, you know this stuff. Now for the new school stuff, we have 2 copies of Xeno Meteorosis. This has quickly become one of my absolute favorite cards in the game. It is so badass looking. This card not only is a level 6 tuner, which is crazy in the strategy, it pluses off your destruction effects. So when you have a situation where you have this card in your hand, and whether it's a baby on field or in hand has been destroyed by a card effect or by battle even, you can special summon this card to your side of the field, which is so good. If this card is on your side of the field, you can use this effect to destroy another dinosaur monster and special summon a dinosaur normal monster from your deck or hand, which is very good. And of course, that does lock you into your quadruple, not trifecta, but the 4 version of that, which is going to be Dinos, Sea Serpents, Dragons, and Worm monsters from the extra deck, which is a little unfortunate, but still insane how good this card is, because it gets you access to cards like Barone and to Chenging. It gets you easy access to your rank 6 pool as well, like Evilzor Solda and Evilzor Raz, which is going to be coming out in the next set, I believe. In general, this card is insane and does so much for the deck. I do not think they could have done a better job of making this card unless they didn't give the Xeno lock there, which ironically, because its name has Xeno in the name. Either way, next up is going to be our big daddy dinosaurs. Of course, the 1 Dino Wrestler Pankratops, which is so incredibly powerful, the 2 copies of UCT, and we are not main decking the Dogoron. Why is that? This is a going first build, and the deck does a really good job of breaking boards very well because of the powerful effects that it has. I don't think you need to have a main deck kaiju, because in the side deck, it's already perfectly viable. You want to go first. You don't want to brick on getting a kaiju in your opening hand, then kind of sitting there being like, what am I doing with this card? It's a dead card for me. I'd rather have something else. So Pankratops is great. UCTs are fantastic. Obviously, 2 of is standard. The reason why you don't play 3 is because it can be a bit of a brick, and you really don't want to see it in your opening hand. You kind of want to special it off the pill and then see it late in the game when you already have your graveyard set up to special summon it. And Pank is just Pank. It's always going to be good. We're then playing what I believe to be standard nowadays is going to be the 1 copy of Megalo Smasher X and the 1 copy of Frostosaurus. I don't care if you play a Sabersaurus or you play any level 4 dinosaur monster. It doesn't matter to me. If you're going to be playing the True King version, you want to play an Earth. If you're playing the True King version, I don't know if there's a level 6 Earth Dino or not, but I think that Frostosaurus is the most accessible to everyone, and Megalo Smasher X came in the structure deck for this this build. So I think you want to play both these, because while they can be garnets and bricks in a way, if you have one of these and you have Ground Xeno, the new spell card, then you don't have to search for it off the spell card, which is great because it gets you access to your Xeno Meteorosis instead. So I think having one of these here is incorrect, because you want to have access to both of them, either to go into your Synchro 10 pool or to go into your rank 6 pool. Both of those are really solid options. So you want to have both of them available. That is it for our monsters. We have, I believe, 23 monsters that are part of the main deck, of course, not hand traps, of course. This is part of our engine. Moving on to our spells, we have the 3 copies of Fossil Dig. This card is disgusting. Not once per turn, add a level 6 or lower dino from your deck to your hand. Crazy, just an insane card. Not level 4 or lower, level 6 or lower, so it searches Xeno Meteorosis as well. It is insane. We then have the new card of the deck. The reason why the deck, I think, has become so much better, and that's going to be 3 copies of Ground Xeno. Oh my god, am I so happy that I bought this card when it was like $17. It is now like 38 bucks. It is crazy. I'm thrilled about it. Shout out to my boy Milan for helping me get the 3rd copy. He lent it to me for this deck profile, so shout out to him. And I am pretty thrilled that this card exists, because this card allows you to add a Dino Tuner or a Dino Normal monster, from your deck to your hand, then destroy 1 card in your hand. Any card, doesn't have to be a Dino. This card plus a Baby Ceratosaurus is insane combo. It is ridiculous how much advantage you get off of this card. And then on top of that, it is also a polymerization while in the graveyard. You can banish this card, fusion summon a Dino Fusion monster from your extra deck by using monsters from your hand or field as material, which is amazing. It is so powerful. This can technically get you into something like the Dinomorphia plays if you really wanted to, but still, Ground Xeno is a crazy card and does so much for the deck. I think it is definitely a 2 of. Some builds will play 3 of them. I'll be honest though, when you're going second, it's great. When you're going first, it's also really strong, of course. But after turn 1, it's kind of useless. So I think some build may eventually cut this card down to 2 down the line. But for right now, we definitely want to see 3 copies. We also then have our 2 copies of the double evolution pill, also very standard because if you draw one and you don't have one in your deck, your miscellaneous sort, your Animator Archosaur won't be able to search for it, which is really, really bad, obviously. So keep that in mind. You want to be able to have access to the double evolution pill, and multiple copies is not a bad thing at all for this strategy. We then have 3 copies of Lost World. I love Lost World for a few reasons. Number one, it helps prevent the targeting, which is really good for cards like Imperm and Valor. It's also really good because if your opponent has a token on their side of the field, they can't evenly match you, which is amazing. That's so powerful in this form because even though it's not the best card in the world, this deck doesn't want to have to burn its negations on evenly matched. So having a token on your opponent's side of the field is really good to stop that. It's also really good to shut down Cashier because they can't special summon if there is that token on the field, which is obviously super, super good. And then of course, it does also reduce the attack of all non-downs by 500, which could be, again, really important in certain situations. Next up is going to be the 1 copy of Call by the Grave. This is a combo deck, so I do believe that down the line we may start seeing people run the crossout designator. Then we have our hand traps, of course. We have the 3 copies of the Infinite Impermanence. I think this is one of the best hand traps of the format. Just target negation is really nice. Shutting things down before they can get all set up is really cool. If your opponent opens on just a Unicorn or a Cashier Fenrir, you can just go for Imperm, shut that down, which is nice. If your opponent normal summons a Albaz to go for fusion on you, you can Imperm. If your opponent normal summons a Luber, you can Imperm that as well. It is really strong. And then of course we have 3 copies of the Nibiru, the Primal Being. I think Nibiru as well is insane. Now here's the thing. A lot of decks right now are combo oriented. They go out to 5 summons or more. Of course, outside of like Cashier when it's going for the Arise Hard Pass variant. The reason why I have Nibiru plus Imperm is because most hand traps, when you're looking at the format right now, they don't just shut down turns unless it's like Droll against something like Super Heavy Samurai or D-Shifter against certain strategies. And I'll be honest, I think that Droll is going to start seeing less and less play as the format goes on, and I think that Dimension Shifter, you cannot play it in this deck. You just can't. You want to be able to banish cards from your graveyard. You want cards to go to the graveyard, so you can't play it. That being said, Nibiru plus a card like Imperm is basically a shutdown to pretty much any board there is, because if you have a Super Heavy Samurai player and you have Nibiru plus Imperm, and you go for Nibiru, they go and chain the Barone, you then fire off the Imperm, you're in a good position. That's that. So that is why we have Nibiru and Imperm here. We do have cards in the side deck to kind of adjust depending on what the matchup is, but that is going to be our main deck right here. Let's go ahead and move on to the extra deck. Moving on to the extra deck, we have one of my favorite new cards from the set being a Transcendosaurus Gigantozauler. This card is amazing and it does so much for the Dino strategy. Essentially, what it does is when it is special summoned, you can target 1 Dino monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Then if it was special summoned from the graveyard, you can target 2 cards, 1 on your hand or field and 1 that your opponent controls and destroy them, which is obviously insane because you can destroy the Baby Ceratosaurus you might have just added back from your graveyard, which is obviously crazy. And on top of that, if it was destroyed, you can shuffle back a normal monster from your graveyard into the deck and then special summon this card, which also activates the rest of your ground Xenos in your deck. Very, very strong. What a great card. And on a 3800 body too, it is so powerful. Moving on to the links, so we have the 1 copy of the Linkuriboh. We also have the Secure Gardener. This is important. The reason why we have Linkuriboh is so we can link off our Animator and Archosaur into Linkuriboh, and we can then link that into Secure Gardener to get a Dino and a non-Dino engrave for, of course, our double evolution pill, so very important. We then have our Scrap Wyvern for the Scrap combos, and then we have, almost as importantly as these 3, is going to be the Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep is so strong because if you have Cross Sheep and then you have your Gigantozauler being summoned to the zone this card points to, you can then special summon from your graveyard another level 4 lower monster, like another baby, for example. It gets you another body on board, which is so good for extending and for support on your side of the field. Just an amazing card in the format here and such a good card for this strategy nowadays. We then have our 1 copy of Pentastag. Yes, I'm still playing Pentastag. Part of it is because there are certain cards I feel like are very good for the strategy that just don't need to be played. And second is going to be because this card here will allow you to just win games out of nowhere. If you have your UCT pointing, or just below this card rather, this card's pointing UCT, you can just win the game. You can. So keep that in mind. Is it cuttable? Yes, but I love the idea of just being able to win a game outright on turn 2 or turn 3, whatever it's going to be, with Pentastag plus UCT combo. We then, of course, have our final link being the Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. This card is part of your massive end board of negations and is really, really powerful. You can easily make it with 3 negates. Just keep in mind that if you have this card here with a Lost World up, it will essentially lose one of the negations it has access to because you have to drain yourself with 800 attack. And this card would only have, well, it wouldn't have exactly 2400 if it was at 3 materials. It would be at 1900 instead. So keep that in mind. Moving on to our XCs, we have the 1 Evilzor Logia, the 1 Evilzor Dolka, and the 1 Abyss Dweller as our rank 4s. Evilzor Logia and Dolka are crazy. A lot of the time, your end board will be able to have a Appaloosa plus a rank 4. Most of the time, you're going to go with the Logia because you have the monster negates already in the Appaloosa. Logia is just like a Solemn Judgment as well for spells and traps. So it's another Omni negate essentially. And as a backup, Abyss Dweller is great because it allows you to use generic cards. You don't have to use the dinos like Logia and Dolka. So if you have a Chimera on the field, a Scrap Chimera on the field, you want to be able to go into something like a Dweller because it is not restricting you at all, which is nice. It's also a Sea Serpent, which means that you're not locked out of it by going into the Xenometeorosis. So keep that in mind as well. We then also have the 1 Evilzor Solda and the 1 Transcendosaurus Drillignathus. Evilzor Solda is really good against Kashtira specifically. Honestly, any deck that special summons and then activates an ignition effect, okay, is really, really weak against this card over here because what it does, not once per turn, first of all, can't be destroyed by card effects while it has material, and second, when your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage step, of course, you can detach 1 material from this card and destroy the monster. So if your opponent goes special summon Unicorn, you just go Evilzor Solda. They destroy that card, too bad. They go special summon the Fenrir, you go Evilzor Solda, too bad. They're good to go. It's a great card to have. Transcendosaurus Drillignathus is also really nice. Not as good as Gigantozauer, but definitely better than the Frostosaurus one. It is essentially going to be a way to recycle your miscellaneous Saurus. You can target a level 4 or lower dinosaur monster that is banished, and then you can special summon it to your side of the field as well, which is really strong to recur that, gets you an extra body. The issue is it doesn't put up a negate. Next of those is going to be our final 3 cards, being our Synchros, our Borreload Savage Dragon, which you make very often, pretty much every turn, our Supreme Sorcel Supreme Sovereign Chenging, and of course our Baronne de Fleur. These are the 3 main Synchros. If you want to add something like an Ultimate Zolkin with a Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, definitely do it. I don't have the Zolkin right now, unfortunately, but regardless, it is still an amazing card to have. Not as good, and I think it'll be falling a bit by the wayside when we get the new Evilzor Xyz monster, but regardless, Borreload Savage Dragon for Omni Negates is great. Chenging is great because it is a Synchro 10 that is a worm or one of the 4 cards, like a worm, sea serpent, dino, or dragon. So you can go into this, which is great, and it also gets you destruction, which is our banishing rather, which is amazing. And Baronne, if you don't get Xeno locked early on, you can go into Baronne pretty easily, and you can also use its effect to pop the baby on your side of the field. And then you can also negate on your opponent's turn still, which is really, really strong. So this is going to be our extra deck. It is so strong. I love the way this extra deck looks, and you don't really lose to anything other than, like, you only lose to D barrier, basically. They call Synchro, well, you go into your Xyz. They call Xyz, you go into your Synchros. You call Fusions, fine, don't use Gigantozauer, it's fine. Onto our side deck, we have, of course, triple copies of Dark Ruler No More. This deck is a going first deck, but going second, you want to have a way to break, and you have a hard time playing through some interruptions, so Dark Ruler is obviously fantastic. We then have triple Kaijus. We have our Gameciel, our Dogoron, and our Godarla. I say it in every video, I like playing different Kaijus. I think it is so much better than just playing the same one all the time. I love having Dogoron in this one here because it is searchable. That is why in other builds you'd see different Kaijus that are weaker, but Gameciel, Godarla, I think are 2 really good ones to have. These are all level 8s as well, so they're not advantageous to cash players. We then have triple Ash Blossom, which you would side in against Branded. You'd probably take out the Nibiru against that, to be honest, because they can play around it. But Ash is obviously amazing, great card to have. We then have our Harpy's Feather Duster, as well as our 2 Cosmic Cyclones, which is going to be standard to help deal with decks like Labyrinth, decks that are just very backward reliant, which is obviously really important. And now all these cards here are basically going second cards. Now, what about a going first card? Well, I was looking at it, I said, you know what? This deck really struggles against Dark Ruler No More. You don't want to deal with evenly matched. So I felt like the best card for me here was going to be Solemn Judgment. Triple copies of Solemn Judgment is great because it acts as an extra negation for anything that could be problematic. You want to use this card as a way to negate a Dark Ruler No More, which can shut down your entire board. And it's really good at that. Obviously, the life point cost is steep, but it doesn't really matter too much at all. I think that this is an amazing 15 card side deck. There are cards that I'm missing here that I wouldn't want to maybe try out and do a bit more testing with. I tested with the True King stuff. I liked it. The issue is you go through your babies so fast. You can go through all 6 babies in your deck like that, and it's kind of a waste. So keep that in mind. Regardless, I think that we have an amazing side deck, an awesome main deck, and an awesome extra deck as well. So if you guys are excited for the new format, what it's going to do for Dinos, and the new support coming in Duelist Nexus, then make sure, of course, to smash the like button. And if you guys want to see a guide, a combo guide, the ultimate combo guide for this specific Dino deck, then do me a favor, smash the like button, help us get to 50 likes, and I will bring that to you next week. And of course, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel as well. We are on the road to 600 subs. You guys subscribing would be absolutely amazing. And of course, comment down below what are your thoughts on the new Dino support. Thank you all for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time.